Hey friends, welcome back to Vlogmas. For this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 8 throwback eyeshadow palettes that I am excited to use this holiday season and really just this winter. Just like my fall throwback palettes video that I did in the fall, in order to be included in this video, the palette has to have been on the market for at least a year, but I think all of these have been on the market for well over a year. At this point, some of them are even discontinued, but really this video is to inspire you to shop your own stash. Maybe you have these palettes, or maybe you have your own palettes that make you think of the holidays. For me, with holiday makeup, I think of silver and gold, sparkly colors. I also think of red and green. Just generally glitzy glam looks is what I really like to wear during the holidays. You'll also notice I'm not wearing any eyeshadow right now because at the end of this video, I'm going to be taking a subscriber request. So Chloe asked for me to do a multi-palette bingo for Vlogmas. So what we're going to do is from these 8 palettes, I'm going to randomly select 5 of them, and then I'm going to randomly select one shade from each of those 5 and create a look with them. So I'm really excited to do that. But first, let me go ahead and share with you the palettes that I'm excited to use this holiday season. So I wanted to start with one palette that you might not really think of the holidays initially when you see this palette, but it's the Flower Jungle Lights palette. I guess the fact that it has jungle in the name and it has these palm leaves on the packaging. Normally I think of the summer when I think of this palette, but really when you look at the shades themselves, there are a lot of great holiday tones in here. We have a red, a green, a gold, a champagne color, and I also love wearing really sparkly foiled shadows this time of year. So this palette I think is perfect for the holidays, even if you might not think so at first glance. And if you have this one, I highly recommend pulling it out. I'm definitely planning on using this one at least a handful of times this December. Here's another one that I don't normally think of as a holiday palette. Normally I think of this as more of a springtime palette for some reason, probably again because of the packaging and the name. It's the Sigma Enchanted palette. It has this like floral design on the outside which makes me think of the spring, and a lot of the shades in here are springy looking, like with the soft pinks, the sort of lilac tones, but I also think there are so many great holiday shades in here. There's a reddish brown, this deep green here called Evergreen, totally. That's like the color of a Christmas tree. Another green, a really foiled gold shade. This is actually one of my favorite shades in the palette, Electrum, along with, quite a few other neutrals, which I think are great for this time of year. So this is one that I'm really excited to pull out. I think I did a look with this last Vlogmas. I can link it below. I think I actually did it in my Cats Pick My Makeup video last year. I think the cats ended up picking this palette and I did like a gold and green sort of look with it, with a red lip, and it was very festive. So definitely don't overlook this one this holiday season if you do have it. Okay, a classic for the holidays. I know a lot of you have this one, ABH Sultry. I actually talked about this in my fall throwback palettes video too, and guess what? I didn't use this at all this fall. So at least maybe I used it once, I don't know. I didn't get enough use out of it this fall, but really, even though I think this has some great fall tones in it, what this palette really makes me think of is the holidays, and especially like New Year's Eve I think of this palette because it has a silver and a gold. I really like doing like a mixed metals silver and gold look for New Year's. I also love this time of year a cool smoky eye with like a silver on the lid and then a black in the outer corner. Just a really classic, dramatic silver look I just think is so much fun. So of course I had to include that one, just such a great holiday palette. Another one, this one is also discontinued like the Sultry palette, the Athr Beauty Rose Quartz. I feel like I've been talking your ear off about this palette recently, but this is currently in my everyday makeup drawer. I think this palette is great all year round. I mean, it's a very muted, soft, neutral palette, but there's something about it that makes me think of the holidays. Maybe because I got it for Christmas a couple years ago, so that's like the time that I was first playing with it. Once again, it has a silver and some grays that I really like for that sort of classic silvery smoky eye for this time of year. It also has a deeper gray shimmer in it that I really like, and I also think that even after the holiday season this would make a great winter palette because it is very cool toned, and I really like cool tones in the winter. Some really soft pinks that I think could even carry us over into like the Valentine's Day season. Really romantic looks you can get with this, so if you have this one as well, I think now is a great time to pull it out and play with it. Another one I had to include because this was actually a holiday limited edition palette from Urban Decay, Stoned Vibes, you know. Lots of glittery shades in here. This palette is pretty much centered around these glittery, sparkly shades. We have a green and gold, a reddish brown, so great Christmassy tones there. I even think that like a silvery blue, like this shade Opal Aura, also, I think that's a great winter color, kind of makes me think of snow. You know, that shade would actually be really good for the cold girl makeup trend that's been going around, where you just put like a frosty light, like white or silver on your lid. I think that shade would be perfect for that because it's a really translucent kind of color that just looks really frosty. So yeah, I might have to try that at some point this season, but of course I had to mention that one. Love it. It is discontinued. I think someone mentioned that you can still get this in Canada, either on the Urban Decay Canada website or maybe Sephora. So if you are in Canada, maybe you can still get your hands on it, but in the US, I think it's pretty much phased out completely here. Okay, another one that doesn't seem holiday-esque at first glance because it literally has the word summer in the name, but the BH Cosmetics Summer in Saint-Tropez. Actually, if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, then it is summertime right now. But I was looking at this and realizing that this has some beautiful holiday sort of colors. It does have a red in it, and I don't have many palettes that have a true red like this, a matte red. I really like to do just a really simple eye look, or even have no eyeshadow except for that worn as a winged liner. It looks so bold, and I think that's a great festive look to do this time of year. It also has this green duochrome. It's like a greenish gold color, a gold, and it also has some berry tones that remind me of just this colder time of year. I also feel like this is a little bit reminiscent of the Odin's Eye Christmas palettes that came out this year. Yeah, I mean, I do feel like there are some similarities between this. It's almost like a cross between both of the Odin's Eye holiday palettes, because the Christmas Eve palette has like some blues and even like a yellow in it, and then the Merry Christmas palette is the more like red and green and gold one. And yeah, so if you have this and you wanted to kind of dupe the vibes of those Odin's Eye palettes, don't overlook this one. Even though it has summer in the name, that doesn't mean you can't use it all year round. I'm guilty of saving certain things for certain seasons, and that's the thing, like I do like switching up my makeup style with the seasons, but in the past, for me, if something had summer in the name, I'd be like, well, this has to be exclusively a summer palette. I don't know why I'm that way, but I'm trying to not be so neurotic, because why not enjoy this palette all year long? If it weren't for the packaging and the title, I mean, this could absolutely be rebranded as a holiday palette if you really wanted to. Another one, this one is another repeat from my fall palettes video, but this is the Profusion Mauves palette. This one has been a beloved palette in my collection for quite some time, but these sort of cranberry tones always make me think of the holidays. Also random, but Nathan has been on a cranberry sauce making kick recently. Like every time we go to the store, I guess cranberries have been marked down a lot recently, so he keeps buying these big bags of cranberries and making cranberry sauce. I don't mind. I actually have grown to kind of like cranberry sauce, even though it wasn't originally like one of my favorite holiday foods or anything, but I don't know, it's pretty tasty. So anyway, side note, this one would be another great one to pull out for the holidays. And then the last palette, number 8, this is the Shared Planet Polar Bear palette, another one that I've had for a while. This one, as you can see, has a lot of those icy, snowy kind of colors, not so much the golds and the greens, but a lot of blues and silvers. It even does have a berry shade in it, so there's a lot you can do with this palette. I feel like this palette is always getting overlooked in my collection, and I always kind of save it for the winter, but really, once again, I need to stop doing that because this is totally usable year-round. It also has one of my all-time favorite blue shadows in it, this shade right here, Avalanche. It's just so dimensional and sparkly. This shade, Icy, is another one that would be great for the cold girl trend. Just put that all over your lid. And it also has great shades for that kind of classic cool tone gray, black, and silver smoky eye that I keep talking about. So let's get into the multi-palette bingo portion of this video. I am so excited to do this. I As you know, I love doing any sort of palette bingo. I just feel like it really gets the creative juices flowing. So what we're gonna do, I'm going to have these palettes numbered just in order of the order that I talked about them. So I'm going to select 5 of these 8 palettes and then randomly generate a shade from each of those 5. So I have my Pretty Random app. I've made the minimum 1, the maximum 8, and we are going to pick 5 palettes. 1, 4, 8, 3, wait, okay. I forgot to do prevent re-rolls, so I rolled 1 again, but let me just pick another one. 7, okay. So we got 1, 4, 8, 3, and 7. So the first one was Flower Jungle Lights. Really excited that this one got chosen. Number 4 was the Ather Beauty Rose Quartz palette. 3 was Anastasia Sultry. 8 was the last one, Shared Planet Polar Bear. And 7 was Profusion Mauves. So those are going to be the 5 palettes that we pull from. So let's start by picking a shade from Flower Jungle Lights. This palette has 6 shades in it, so I'm drawing a number 1 to 6. 3. Yay. Okay. So I didn't already say, but I always number things horizontally. So 3 is this metallic red. That is one of my favorite shades in this palette. I love a corally red color, so there is that one swatched. The Ather Beauty Rose Quartz palette, this one's going to be a little bit harder to number, but let's do 1 through 4 here on the outer left side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1 through 12, I got 10. 10 is 9, 10 here. This purpley shade, that is the shade called Aura. All right. Yeah, that's like a mauvey purple with kind of almost a blue shift to it. It definitely is a duochrome. So that'll be fun. Not necessarily the color that makes me think of the holidays, but you know, it does have kind of that berry undertone that we were talking about. So next for my sultry palette, picking a number 1 to 14, 6. Ooh, okay, another one that I don't really think of the holidays when I look at this shade, but that is the shade Bloom, which is the matte coral. It'll be funny if we end up with a look that totally doesn't really look holiday-esque. But yeah, there's that pinky coral shade. Kind of a salmon color. It is a really pretty color so far. Interesting mix. So next up for the Mauves palette, so 1 through 10, let's go 9. Okay, so that is the second to last shade here, Ballad, another purple-ish, like a dusty purpley mauve. Okay, this is turning out to be quite an interesting mix. We have some like warm orangey corals, and then we have some more cool purpley shades. Let's see what our 5th shade ends up being from the Polar Bear palette. I am nervous. Picking 1 through 12, 7. So 7 is this shade down here. Okay, that's good. We got a deep shade. This is the shade Sub-Zero, which is a deep, plummy, it's kind of like a plummy brown. So that'll actually go well with some of these purple tones in here. So there's that. Okay, so I think we have some good matte shades to work with. I think the best one to start out the look is going to be Ballad from the Profusion Mauves palette, and then Sub-Zero from Polar Bear is a good deepening up sort of shade. But I do feel like this metallic Jungle Lights shade should be really like the main event on the lid. I'm not sure what to do with the purpley blue from Rose Quartz either. Okay, I'm gonna start out with Ballad from the Profusion Mauves palette. This dusty, plummy matte. That was my chair. So I'm gonna lay that shade down in the outer half of my crease. And with my palette bingos, I like to challenge myself to not use any shades besides these. I just think that makes it even more fun and stressful. What does that say about me that I find stressful things fun? The only exception is I do like to use a skin tone powder, whether it's an eyeshadow or just my face powder, which is what I'm going to use today. And I am going to use that to set my lid. Right. I think I know what I'm going to do. So that I'm just focusing on my outer crease. And I'm fine with bringing that into the outer corner as well. Using a small but still fluffy crease brush for this. Okay, so now I'm just wiping that brush off on my rag here, my emotional support rag. So this might seem weird, but it's a palette bingo, so what do you expect? So now I'm gonna go in with Bloom, the coral, and that's gonna be my inner crease color. So I'm meeting that with the purple, believe it or not. I feel like this can work. This is not going to be a holiday look at all. This is just a random look using holiday-ish palettes. Not the worst pairing I've ever seen of colors. And don't you worry, we are just getting started. This is only the beginning. I don't usually take my crease shade like all the way in, but I also don't mind doing that. I feel like it, you know, I do have pretty big eyelids, I guess. I don't know. I have the lid space for it. I'm actually not minding that combo. I'm even bringing this Bloom shade a little bit onto like the lid. I don't mind because it's gonna get covered up with the other shades. So next let me go into my deep matte Sub-Zero from Polar Bear. And that I'm taking on like a small pencil brush and I'm focusing that in my outer corner and really using it to define my upper lash line. I've really been liking doing that recently. Just creating like a smoky liner effect. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is go into my cooler toned shimmer, this shade Aura from the Rose Quartz palette. I'm actually going to lay down a glitter primer all over my lid because I do find that helps all of these middle duochromes here. They perform best over a glitter primer. And I also want this look to be nice and foiled, so just patting that on the lid pretty much where I haven't applied shadow yet, where we're going to be applying our shimmers. So next, picking up some of that on my finger, and that I'm packing on the outer half of my lid. Ooh, yeah, see how much that glitter primer brings out the duochrome quality of this shadow? That's pretty. So you see what we're doing here? Really the outer half of my eye is the cool tones and the inner half is gonna be warm tones. Yeah, I'm really liking that blue shift that this has. Okay, you know what time it is. So these I like to just slowly build to avoid fallout. And a little goes a long way. You really don't need to pick up a lot of these. And I am overlapping that purple and the red together so that it looks like a seamless blend. Wow, I don't mind it. It's a little unusual, but it helps that we got a good range of mattes. Like we got a deep matte and then a couple of lighter mattes. And then, you know, we did get 2 shimmers as well, so it wasn't like all shimmers or all mattes or, you know, all light colors. So at least we had a good range of depths here. So now I am just doing some blending. Okay, I'm picking up a little bit more of this deep shade and redefining that here in the outer corner. I really like the smokiness that brings. And then I'm taking just whatever is left on that brush onto my lower lash line. Really keeping it in the outer part and connecting it to the upper wing. And then back to my crease brush, I'm blending the top all together. Isn't that such a crazy look? I really don't mind it. Like, it's weird, but I like it. So I'm gonna tightline my upper lash line with my CoverGirl Perfect Point Plus liner in Espresso. Bring that all the way across. If you want to see another bingo style video, I did a full face makeup bingo for my channel members and patrons last month. I basically let a random number generator pick every step of my makeup look. It ended up pretty dramatic and pretty wild. That was a ton of fun. So you can either join the YouTube membership or the Patreon for as little as $1.99 per month, and that'll be linked below. Just applying some of my Milani anti-gravity mascara. I'm not sure what to do for the lips. Should I do like a warm nude color? Let me see. How would that look? Maybe that would work. I think I know what I'll do. This was one of my favorite lip combos last year, my Mented Peach lip pencil with my Urban Decay lipstick in Liar. Let's try that. Going kind of a warm route with this lip. I'm not so sure about that lip, actually. What if I added a little of my CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom to the center? I'm gonna try it just to lighten up the center a little bit and add a little bit of coolness to this, because this is like a cool pink. I think that works, actually. Okay, so there's the finished look. As with any bingo style video, I had so much fun just trying a totally random color story. And I'm really surprised with the outcome. Let me know what you think of this look. It's a strange pairing with the cool purples mixed with the warm corals. Definitely never would have thought to pair those shades together, but that is always just the fun of a palette bingo. Yeah, I thought this was really fun and a good exercise in playing with two different undertones together, cool and warm. It's not always easy, but I feel like it worked pretty well. So let me know what palettes you are looking forward to pulling out and using this holiday season. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you're enjoying Vlogmas. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will go ahead and see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.